Mind if I see you? No. He's too caught up in what he's doing to mind me. What he's doing is he's looking at some of his face reflecting back at him in his window, and he's looking outside at the same time. Two things at once. He brought his face very close to the glass to get a better look. And then he made steam with his breath. It was still chilly out then. And then he drew a picture. Well, not a picture exactly, but a pattern. Not a pattern either, really. Just two lines on a steamy window. One vertical and one askew. And he stopped making the second one right before they touched together, and he pressed his face against the glass. And he stayed that way for the longest time, it seemed like. And after a while, why isn't he moved? Why does he not move? We become desperate for him to. But then he let out a great, magnificent yawn, unlike any yawn ever yawned. Upturned, gaping, wide mouth. And I knew. And then he went away. Then he went away. Not so easy, is it? No, that's something I'm not just saying. It's very difficult. It's very difficult. It's like trying to do something that's too difficult, and if it's too difficult, then you can't really do it, can you? Yes, I've seen her around. With the hair sort of... I've seen her more than once. I saw her in passing. I saw her in the laundromat. I saw her as I was walking past. She looked very different than what I thought. All of my clothes were clean already, so I just went home and I wet a few things down and threw them in a basket, and I went in to use my dryer. She was sitting next to a washer that I'd used once. I sat down next to my dryer. Some of the machines were on around us. And she was reading with a newspaper up in front of her face. Lower the paper. 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 She'd been crying. And all of a sudden I wasn't able to dislike her anymore. I thought, poor thing. I know, laundromats can be very lonely places because there's your clothes going around. Just your clothes. And the sound of buttons hitting damp air. I thought, oh my God, she's not happy. And I wanted to apologize to her for being so mean, but she wouldn't have known what I was talking about. And then she caught me looking at her for half a second, but I just looked around at all the other people in the laundromat. And lots of people do that in laundromats, so that was nothing. And then I wished I hadn't looked away. I waited until I caught her looking at me again. It must have been all of 10 minutes later. Only this time, though, she wouldn't look away. And I wasn't going to either. And she didn't know what was being acknowledged. But her eyes said, I'm not really afraid or anything of you. And then we both looked away at about the same time. She'd been crying. So, she's all very real and palpable to me now. Ted. She struck me as very compelling, very abstract. And he wants her. Then you shall have her. Then you shall have her. The young woman gathers up her laundry and she leaves the laundromat. Excuse me. Pardon me. Young woman! I'm a friend of Ted's. Ted. I wouldn't. And I'm sure that you wouldn't want to see him hurt in any way. Thank you. His name is on his mailbox. In exchange for his name and his address, the 411 woman was happy to give me his phone number. I called it only once. On a rainy night, on my birthday. It was the right number. Hello? 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 He is who he says he is.